Simple as that. And then it's just picking the right price.
I'll try to remember that.
Yeah, so just think about what's going on. That's all you got to do. Just think about what's going on in the world and think, how could this affect the market, or aim any market you think that's out there. If you hear something, if you like, let's say for example, you hear that there's a shortage of farmers of sugar. You go, right,
Mm-hmm.
well, if there's a shortage of farmers because of supply and demand, the demand's the same, but there's not as much supply, so I'll buy sugar. The price of sugar will go up.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Okay.
is as simple as that. It really is. So you're always just kind of considering supply and demand whenever you buy and sell anything. You're just trying to figure out, is there going to be a lack of supply? And if there is, then you buy whatever it is because the price will go up because people are still wanting that particular product.
And that can be done in any currency, correct?
Exactly. Any currency, any stock, any commodity. So a commodity, things like oil, sugar, gold, anything that you think there's a lack of supply of, just buy it.
Beer.
Beer.
Wine.
That's great to know, Ash. Thank you for that.
No problem. No problem. Lesson one. That's yeah. Stock trading 101.
Yes, I've also been meaning to watch Angel's copy of the uh, trading for beginners.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah. That's good. Yeah, just ease your way in. There's all the time in the world you've got.
You got
Yes.
5 minutes of the show,
Thank you.
mate?
By the way, we have 10 seconds left and we are
No
on
problem.
live now.
No problem.
Thank you, Ash.
See you soon.
You too. Bye.
How you doing, buddy?
All right, mate. And you?
Yeah, very good, very good. Had a bit of a drama here yesterday. Molly fell slap bang on her face in the playground and cut her lip open.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so and her teeth almost came out. So I've been at the dentist this morning,
Oh,
just
that
trying
is
to
drama. Is
kind of
she
sort her
okay?
out. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear her in the background, but she's shouting about as normal.
Yeah, they bounce
she's
back pretty fast.
yeah,
That's a
she's
fact.
not in any danger. So what we got going on, mate?
Well, they tell me there's a result coming in the next couple of hours,
Okay.
and I can imagine that would be the case. But I think everyone's kind of the same opinion, aren't they? That it's going to be a blue victory.
It is. Yeah.
But what does that mean? Does that mean that the White House gets locked down and Trump brings in the National Guard, or
I don't
what?
know. I mean, when he gets over it, I think he'll probably chill out a bit. I don't know. He doesn't like to lose, does he? So he sort of,
Oh no,
does he? I
it's not
don't
a
think.
thing.
I honestly don't think that he would. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? I'd be quite surprised though if he got that kind of ridiculous about it. I think ultimately he's going to accept it and maybe go around sort of things in the background. But they've got until January to kind of sort the issue out, I guess. But I think that the significant thing is the stimulus package. I've still got my long on the FTSE that I'm holding on to,
Mhm.
and I'm actually looking to add to it. I should have added to it yesterday. I'm annoyed that I didn't, but I'm going to still take any opportunity that is out there to add to the position.
I guess that's the next question. And what is the market thinking right now? I mean, the market has to be thinking Biden's winning,
Yep.
but again, that cloud hangs over it with all these legal. Apparently, he's throwing all sorts of legal
Yeah.
challenges around the place. It's not just
Yeah.
one. Um, I don't know. It kind
Well,
of reeks of still uncertain, but
yes,
it
it
looks
does.
very much to me like Biden's across the line. I would say that,
Yeah.
but what what does that look like? I don't know. And what does the
Um,
market think about that? I see the dollar's taking a bit of a tank
excuse me one
against.
second, mate. Sorry.
Yep. So we appear to be in a risk on mood with the risk on currencies. I just don't know. I really don't know. I'm happy to hold my position long on the Aussies. That seems to be going okay. But that's about the only thing that's happening. I've got to say, I tried to trade Swissy yen short this morning. That hasn't happened. Where are we? Swissy yen down here somewhere. That's Doji Day so far today on Swissy yen. Beautiful bar at a very nice place on Swissy yen. And if you wanted to follow that one, it's still alive. We've got an inside bar so far today. And I'm selling it at 114.23 with the stop loss at 115.03. I'm taking first profit at 113.8, which is pretty tight, but I don't want to trade past support or resistance at the moment. I think that's crazy. And TP2 is 112.05. So that is where I stand on Swissy yen. I've got still CAD Swiss in the market. Same thing, hasn't done a thing today. When I say hasn't done a thing, it's been up and down, as you would expect with a non-event taking. Well, it's not a non-event. There's just no result being posted. As I said, I think Biden's probably
right. I'm back, mate. Now, obviously, you're talking about some charts here, and I've got some to show you as well when you're done. I think the stock market's very, very interesting today because of where we are with levels, and you're probably seeing something similar with currencies, I'm presuming.
Only on a few. The ones I expected would be tradable today, which was CAD Swissy that I traded yesterday.
Yeah.
Put in a doji day. It looks like the same's happening today on CAD Swissy. Swissy yen was also one that I'm trading, but same thing. A doji day so far today. So the market's not ready to show its hand, surprisingly for me, because I think Biden looks very much like a winner to me, and the market has to react to that, doesn't it? Surely.
Do you know? I think that there's probably a side, a different story going on, and I think that that's the issue that the market's got, and I think that one of the reasons that the stock market has rallied is in anticipation that there could be some stimulus coming. And I do think the rally is all about stimulus. I don't think, as we were talking about yesterday or the day before, I think the election
it's a bit like that. When was it?
Was it yesterday? It was yesterday, actually, wasn't it?
I think so.
But the election's noise, in my opinion. I don't think it makes a whole lot of difference who ends up winning. But what does make a difference is there going to be some further stimulus? I mean, we've got the Bank of England today increased their bond buying program, and quite a telling statement from them. The risks are certainly the risks are weighted to the downside. GDP looks like it is shrunk, and it looks like it may continue to shrink. They seem to be quite concerned about the situation with the EU, and the likelihood of the likelihood that we will get a trade deal is everything they've baked in. So no trade deal from the UK would be something that actually not even the Bank of England is prepared for. What they've effectively done is further bought bonds from the UK government, and that allows the UK government to continue to elevate the UK economy and keep it afloat. So that's actually a positive, and that probably is going to be relatively good for stocks in many respects, because the government have got a bit more to spend. It looks like the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak, is going to be putting in a further furlough scheme until March, but they are kind of going on the basis that this pandemic isn't going to last too far into 2021. And they're looking for growth around about midway through 2021.
They're hoping like hell. It's not.
They're hoping, but I thought the most interesting part of the statement was about inflation, where they are way off the inflation target. But there was one little line in there which said that they expect inflation to pick up fairly swiftly. And that surely should bring us towards things like gold and silver. Now, I still don't know. I really like gold and silver, and it looks to me like silver might even be breaking out to the upside. I had a trade in silver yesterday, which I closed because it started to concern me about what might happen with the dollar. But it looks like the dollar's on a bit of a another journey to the downside at this particular stage, and I wonder whether we might continue to get a boost in the likes of gold and silver and many other currencies against the dollar. So I've got a price on silver that I want to take. I don't know whether it's going to come down, but I think it's going to be one of those things that, because it's quite, I wonder whether it's a bit overpriced potentially. And this is the whole thing with trading, is that there is value and there is momentum. And when it comes down to silver, it looks a bit like a momentum trade rather than a value trade, and that's a bit concerning. I don't like those types of trades, but I think, as we've seen with the with a Nasdaq as an example, or the likes of Amazon. I think I was looking at yesterday. Fascinating, really. If you bought Amazon back in 2004, would you want to have a little guess at what percentage it's up by now, mate? Back in 2004.
2004.
Yeah, so 16 years.
Ooh,
Whatever you're
and
thinking, double it.
relatively at that time, yeah, let's go with a few thousand%.
Yeah, a few thousand is vague.
10,000.
Okay, you're close, actually. 8,000. So it's up 8,000% since 2004. Now, people can't tell me that Amazon from 2004 to 2020 has been a value run. That is undoubtedly a momentum run to the upside. And this is what can happen, just because it's a momentum trade, it doesn't mean it's not going to continue higher. And I wonder whether that's the case now with silver, where we might just have to get in and make a play and say, with inflation on its way and not too far off away from being on its way, maybe we need to just say it's time. It's time that we look into trading silver. I think less so with cryptocurrencies, but I think there is an element of that as well. I don't know what you discussed on Tuesday in the class, but I do think cryptocurrencies have got a little smack of that as well, where they might just be a shade overvalued. Not too bad though. It's not quite the same, and I'll show everybody what I mean by that in a moment.
Well, Shukri was very keen on a retracement on Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, I'm in Ethereum, and I'm holding the position. I don't know whether it's coming. I really don't know whether we're going to get that retracement. But in saying that, there is a possibility that the stock market does actually have a bit of a collapse from this particular point. And as I say, I'll show you that in a moment when you're done with your stuff.
All right, I'm just having a flea around while you're talking, having a look at these various charts. So I'm not really into too much. The VIX is interesting. It has come way off, as you would expect.
Yes.
With the non-result, I suppose. The market really isn't doing too much. But I expect that will pick up as soon as we do know the results. And we've got FOMC overnight as well. I think there's going to be a little bit of a lift in that. We'll see.
Yeah.
Other than that, we appear to be, as going back to Forex, we appear to be very much in a, pardon me, in a different situation than we were yesterday, where we were, and the day before, where we were risk on. Then we went risk off yesterday, and now we've gone back to risk on. Well, in my opinion, we have.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of iffy. It's not a clear cut thing.
Well, the day really turned yesterday, and we had an amazing run by the end of yesterday. It was like 4 or 5% run in some of these equities, so it ended up being very much risk on. But what's actually happened is that we've just traded right the way back up to a significant area of resistance. So we're in a sell zone, and that's why I think these stocks are quite interesting at this stage.
Yeah, we'll take the charts, mate, for sure.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. All right. So what we have now, I don't. Are you on?
Am I on what?
Are you on YouTube? I just want to make sure we've got everybody. Are we? Oops. There we go. Sorry. Just want to make sure that we've got everybody here. There we go. Alan, I see you there. SF, I see you. Yeah, all good. Okay. You try to short the daily. Okay, well, let me show you just something about the daily. What was that on, Alan? What was it you're trying to short on the daily? And I'll just show you what I'm seeing. So where were we going to start? Let's start with the FTSE. Now the FTSE has obviously had an amazing run. I managed to get in right at the lows down here, which I'm really pleased with. And this looks a bit random. Why would you get into a low down there? And it was simply this bar here. You see this bar? Really nice hammer. So that's it's one of those situations where you can use the hammer as the buy signal, and then it's just trying to get the best possible price. But what I was looking at with the FTSE is that we were just at the kind of low end of this pattern. And even though the hammer was outside of the pattern, I thought, well, the price action, if the hammer holds, is going to be above the pattern. So I was quite happy to trade that to the upside. So I'm in right on the lows down here, and it's been a fantastic run so far, and about 350 pips to the upside with a stop of around about 90 or even 80 or something like that. So
Nice.
it's a really good run, mate. But I'm holding. I'm not kind of clearing out of position, because what I want to see, and I'll show you in a minute, Alan, why I think your short is right, but a bit early. Hey, John, I see you in the room as well. How you doing, buddy? What I want to see is this come back and give us a genuine pattern. I want this down here, because if that can happen, then we get that left shoulder, right shoulder, sorry. We get the right shoulder. That would be the head down there, and then we can see if we can pick up from that particular point. But the reason I think that the market is quite interesting here is that we are in a sell zone, and how are we going to react to this sell zone? Well, I'm not going to sell, and I probably won't sell even if it does come down, because I'm looking to hold this position down here now right the way through, because my belief is that if this gets taken out, we're going significantly lower. So I think I've caught the bottom at this particular stage. So I can now switch to longer term timeframes and see whether I can get all the way up to this point from this particular trade. So I'm holding on to that, but I'm looking for the market to come back. But look at that, right at the top end of the channel here. That's a sell zone. Now let me show you the NASDAQ. Right at the top end of this triangle, that's a sell zone. So what could cause this to come down? Well, a contested election would be pretty good. Oh, well done, John. Well done, mate. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. We'll talk about that as well a little bit later on. So what I need to see, Alan, and this is really for you. If you're shorting this on the daily, because I'd like to take a short on the NASDAQ, but if you're trying to short this, let's just look at what created the long, and we want to try and do the same thing. So the first thing that we would do is find our level, and then if you bring in your trend line, then you can see that the level is down here somewhere. It may be that we're using closing prices instead, so you might be looking at that, which actually looks like it's a better line. So we can delete this one. Now the next thing that we saw was a bar which says Mr. Market might be reversing at this point. It's certainly holding. At this stage, we don't have that information. All we've got is a push right to the upside. And the problem with shorting here is that can happen. Way. Who knows? Or even more confusing, not for Geoff, but for the rest of us, mere mortals, this might happen. So you get that false break, and then you sort of
charting nirvana, that is, mate.
then you can trade that there. So what we're waiting for is the information that this is turning. We don't have that at this stage. All we've got is a sell zone. Now, if we consider what we'd look for and how many of these we would miss, look at this. This is saying, that if we were to interpret this as saying buy here, this is saying buy here, this is saying sell here. We don't have a sell here at the minute. We've just got a question mark. That's what this bar is currently doing. The price action's here. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't consider it if it goes through, because we'll be looking for it to come back inside the range and trade it like Geoff would trade it. We don't need to take the risk. And I think that's one of the really cool things, actually, mate, about having a trading buddy is that because of the way you look at the market, it means that the rest of us now don't have to go, well, if it's broken to the upside, we don't have to just discard it anymore. We can sort of like say, ask ourselves, is it a false break? And then we can wait for the information to see if that's the case. So that looks to me like it's an opportunity to sell, but it just looks to me like it's a bit early. So I will be looking for a sell here. And the good thing for me would be, if I can look for that as a sell, I don't need to sell the FTSE, because the likelihood is they both come down. And I can keep. What I mean is sell the FTSE. I don't need to close this position. If the market comes down, if the global stock market comes down, the Nasdaq will come down, the FTSE will come down, but the Nasdaq will be aggregating the loss on the FTSE, and that means I can pick this one up again back up here, potentially holding on to that Nasdaq until that one is down at the bottom of the channel, possibly, and maybe even beyond, and if the Nasdaq does go beyond, and the FTSE does end up getting right to my my buy level here, I'm still making money out of the Nasdaq short. So that's the comfortable position that I am now in, is that I can look for a short in something else to express the potential danger that is possibly that I've now got with my trade. Let's have a look at some of these other ones. The S&P sell zone. Right on a sell zone, and if you look at it down here, that's a buy zone. And yet again, if we have a look at what information we had, this one we didn't know about. We didn't really know about this either. But if we consider what happened here, that selling bar there is untradeable, so we couldn't trade that. This one is a buying bar that is tradable. This is a buying bar which is tradable, and this is a selling bar which is tradable. But we haven't got the information, and if we don't wait for the information, then we're going to get run over, as you maybe found, Alan. So Ash, why stocks rally so hard? The stocks rallied so hard because, in my opinion, I have to say this is only an opinion. I don't think anybody's coming out with a definitive reason, but in my opinion, the stocks rallied because with a Biden win, with anybody winning, and with a defined leader, if you like, then we all of a sudden have clarity. And one of the reasons I thought the stock market sold off was the lack of clarity just before the election. But now we've got a bit of clarity back in the market. Then we start to rally, and then if we get clarity and we get enough of the house won by one of the parties, then the stimulus package comes through and the stock market's jolly again. The reason I think it may come down from here is that if Trump does contest the election, or more significantly, which Shukri is just bringing up now, is that the Republicans get the Senate, so there's no dominance, so there's likely no bullying. Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, Shukri's just bringing up a different point, actually, which I hadn't considered, which I'll tell you in a minute. But I think more interesting is the fact that if the Republicans get the Senate, then there might be further loggerheads between the president and the Senate, meaning that we might not get the stimulus package. The stock market might not get the stimulus package that is so desired, because they were arguing before about what the stimulus package should be. That, in my opinion, would push the stock market lower. Shukri saying that with the Republicans getting the Senate, there's no dominance. There's likely no bullying tech, and the Nasdaq will go up. And a split government is good, he's saying. So that may well be the case, and I don't really have a strong view on that one way or the other. All I'm really looking at this particular point is the fact that we're in a sell zone, and could there be a sticking point of the stimulus package? And regardless of whether there is, could there be anticipation of a sticking point with the stimulus package, and could that push stocks lower? But at this stage, that's all I've got is a general theory. Now, that will probably be expressed with the chart. So the chart comes down. I'm interested in selling the Nasdaq, maybe even the S&P. We'll see. Now, when it comes down to silver, silver looks like now it's possibly through its level. You know, it's been a little bit difficult to say exactly where that level is. Now, I kind of had it here. Well, actually, I spoke way too soon. Silver's just at the top end, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Silver's at the top end of that. And let's just double this up and have a look. Looks to me like that's the channel with silver. Now, I did buy in down here, but I sold almost instantly because I was getting a bit worried about the election, and I felt a bit overexposed to certain things. But this silver's also in a sell zone. and this may well come down further. So we don't need actually to rush into silver. I think that might still give us an opportunity. But if it doesn't, we might have to get ready to buy silver. And the price that it looks to me like we might have to start getting into silver might well be where we are. It might well be inside the pattern if we believe in it enough. But it might well be where we are. So that means that it's got to break to the upside, come back, and possibly trade here. What I don't want to see is the same as we may see with the Nasdaq or the S&P or the FTSE, where we get a false break to the upside, a return back into the pattern, and then we move down, because silver still looks a little bit toppy. Now let's compare this to cryptocurrencies, because what I see with silver is a lack of a test, and that always concerns me. Hasn't really come back anywhere near far enough, in my opinion. Now that's a long way down, but I still think that there's a chance that it could come down there, and it doesn't matter how I color this, it's all looking downwards, not up. You know, even if I use one of these lower lines or patterns, it's still below that area. So I can't justify a buy at this stage in silver. It looks to me like it needs to come back a bit, and I'll be all over it at around about $20 and below. But before that, I'm just not that interested. Where I think cryptos are different, particularly Ethereum, is that I think that what we have with Ethereum is something that has tested. You know, that's tested a level, and okay, still doesn't close what we thought was the CME gap, but I think Ethereum starts to look a lot more attractive, and looking at this as well, it looks to me that that Ethereum is now in an uptrend, and it's through levels. So I'm all right to hold on to Ethereum as well, and I'll keep that one running. And if Ethereum decides it will come back, then I'll be more than happy to trade it again. But it's got to be, you know, quite a bit below this price, or possibly a breaker with this level. Then I'll keep adding to Ethereum. Nasdaq now it's stimulus again. Yeah, Ethereum 2.0 launch on the 1st. They need 524,000 Ethereum to stake, or they'll delay it. Oh dear. Okay, like that might be bad. That might be bad, but I will trade Ethereum happily to the upside. I mean, you know,
you can slip half of that in, mate, and this should be right to go. Shukri put the other half in, be right.
Shukri, what's your opinion on Ethereum longer term? You know, if we forget all the stuff about 2.0 and this, that, and the other, are we still looking at a genuine move in Ethereum? We'll break 1,004. Oh, really? Okay, yeah, that's good enough for me. Okay, you think it's going beyond this point, right? In that case, I've got a good deal here, right? I mean, tell you what, mate, my Cardano, what a dog that is! Absolute rubbish. I've still got Cardano, and none of my positions are in profit on Cardano. Yeah, Charles is up to his old tricks by the sounds of it. I mean, I was hoping that we'd get a little bit of crypto boost just because with Cardano, just because it's a cryptocurrency. Is that not going to be the case? Where do we see it, mate? Where do we see it?
Hey, Shukri, does that depend on the Ethereum 2 release? It won't go until that release, is that right? And if they don't release, it won't go at all. It'll just stay there. Is that the thought process?
Well, let's see if we can get it. Lovely horizontal level here, though, mate. Look at that. Beautiful.
Yes. It likes it there, though. That's the problem at the moment.
It does kind of like it there, but we're above it, and you know, this is why I will fight tooth and nail to keep this this trade on, because of where it is. I wish I could trade Ethereum futures so it didn't cost me anything, but you know, getting charged swaps, of course, for holding it, but I will keep it for as long as possible. But that is pretty much where I am at, mate, and that's my thought process for the day. Yesterday we discussed the new strategy in the US show. We talked about the new strategy and the new approach, and I've got to put together a little PowerPoint for the next education session in a couple of weeks' time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Next week, pardon me, I'll leave that one alone and do a bit of my own stuff. I think show you guys a little bit of trickery around pretty much what Ash was talking about earlier, and that is trend lines or trade lines. They are kind of the number two thing, if not the number one thing in the strategy that I trade. The number one thing are the pivots, but the trade lines are, it's kind of a toss-up. Daily pivot's the number one though, always. It tells me, it talks to me, the daily pivot. It says, don't go that way, more than it says go that way. And,
yeah,
and that's a pretty cool thing.
That is very cool.
It saves you lots of bucks.
Alan, you're right, mate. ADA is bad at the minute. It's rubbish. I'm going to hold it, just because I've decided to commit to it. But if it breaks down, I won't be in it for too long. Well,
I'm pissed off, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I wanted to try. I wanted to trade the FOMC statement, which of course is the next event on the calendar. But no, everything's moved too far. It's just not possible. I'll share screen and show you what I mean by that. And it's pretty much down to obviously the election that just won't go away at the moment.
Yeah.
But normally we have a look at euro dollar on the 4-hour chart, and we're looking for a breakout. Well, it's too late. It's already broken out. So we're looking for a breakout of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That would mean that I'd have to put my risk about, let's say, 115.87. And my top side risk would have to be about 118.75. So nearly 300 pips. No thanks. Who wants to trade that breakout? No, not for me. So that won't be happening on Eurodollar. Maybe there's something else I can trade. I'll have a look at, but it certainly won't be happening on Eurodollar. And that's going to also eliminate the NFP breakout as well. Unless, of course, we can find our way back into the middle of this range. And if we can do that, maybe we could play a downside or an upside, but in a completely different fashion. I'll have a look at that at some stage. But it is now time, of course, to bid everyone who's in the YouTube show adieu. And as we get on with the subscriber show for the US session, which opens, of course, in about 45 minutes from now. Fair bit to talk about before that happens, not least of which is both of those things that I've just mentioned, FOMC and NFP, and what that actually might look like in the atmosphere. It's not the word I'm looking for, but it'll do. In the atmosphere of a federal election, which should be, and we should have a result, at least past the line, a result by, in fact, they're saying we'll get that in a couple of hours, I believe. And that looks like being Biden, but whether that's going to be ratified anytime soon is goodness only knows. Who would know? Brexit, quick one from Alan. Brexit is not happening. Aldi?
All day?
Oh, could be. I don't know.
I don't know. Just quickly, mate. Are we in the 50s?
No, we're in the 10s.
Oh, what are we in?
10 to 20.
The 10s. The 10s. Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm doing it, aren't I?
I thought I was doing it. You're doing it, are you?
Yeah.
I was doing it yesterday. Yeah, it's you. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because I wasn't here.
Yeah.
All right. So no Brexit today, but I think the pound is looking a little bit suspect today. I could be wrong. But
well, it is looking suspect, and that's because of the bond buying. It's that will weaken the pound.
But again, like the Aussie on Tuesday, what's new? We knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing it.
Everyone's at it. Yeah.
Is that so different than anybody else?
Well, there you go. I was talking to Mai just before we came on air about supply and demand. There's case in point, Mai. The UK Bank of England are supplying more pounds. They're going to print more money, so creating more pounds. So there's too much supply, so the pound weakens. So when you take supply away, then it will strengthen. So there you go. Case in point, the pound weakens today off the back of that supply story. But Brexit will help it out eventually.
All right. Okay, YouTube guys, we've got to go. Thank you, Mai, for looking after Ash and myself for the week. And you have a lovely weekend, and everybody else that won't be with us in the US session proper. You also have a great weekend, and we look forward to your sharing your company again next week.